Hi everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. And today we're going to be doing this metallic half cut crease, which is perfect for special events. So right now it is May, it is springtime, which means that it is a whole bunch of things for a whole bunch of people. We have graduation, we have prom, and these type of events, you know, everybody wants to have their makeup done. They want to have a special go-to look. So here is one of mine, and we are going to go all through the eyes. If you want to see how I do everything else on my face, I have the makeup foundationals playlist, which has been getting pretty bulky recently, where I do single topic videos on certain things. So I did how to do my brows, how I apply faux lashes, how I do my lips, how I do my base, and I go into way more depth on those certain things. But today we're going to be doing the eyes in this video, so keep on watching. Please make sure to subscribe down below. Just double check real quick. Just double check real quick, and let's get right into the video. All right, so before you put on the eyeshadow, let's talk about priming the lid, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm taking a little bit of concealer. I'm just using the Too Faced concealer that I was using on my face earlier today, and I'm going to prime the lid. So I'm going to be taking this Morphe M432 brush, which is this square brush here. And the reason why I use a square brush is so that I can get really close on that line underneath my brow and make it sharp as possible. So I'm going to be taking that and going right underneath my brow, and then dragging the product down. I can also turn it to the side for that sharp 90-degree angle that we have at the front of the brow. And I'm going to just add primer all to the lid. Now, I know what you're thinking. Lauren, you usually advocate for a white primer, and that I do. But since we're going to be using browns today, it doesn't need to be a white primer because the browns don't need that much help as, say, a green or a pink or a yellow or a blue to be vivid. Brown on top of beige works better than, say, blue on top of beige or pink on top of beige or yellow on top of beige or green on top of beige. That is why we're going to be using this shade here today. Also because since this eye look is going to be brown and I guess leaning more towards the natural side, it's going to be less blending that we need to do up at the top because it's already beige instead of that stark white. We have to take the browns away to the top. We don't need that today, right? Now, before I take out my eyeshadows, let's explain what I already have on my face. Because you might say, Lauren, it seemed like you did 65 steps before the camera turned on. No, don't worry. I have a step-by-step for everything I have on my face. So you can follow all my videos to do the beginning of your special event makeup all the way to the end. So I did my brows, which I have a brow tutorial on. And I just did a feathered brow. So what I did was I brushed it up with gel and then colored it in with the brow tint pen. Pretty simple. I have a video on that. And then my base makeup, right? So base makeup, there's a lot of different pieces to it, right? So I can't go into that in this video. It'd be so long. Don't worry. I got the video up for you for that too. And yeah, I think that's all I've done. My brows and my base. Let's get into these eyes. So for today, let's address the elephant in the room. I cut my nails off. I'm in the middle of 75 hard, which is this whole discipline challenge. And I'm about to start training for a triathlon. So making my life simpler. Now that we addressed that, let's jump into the eyeshadow that we're going to be using today. And we're going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette. And y'all know whenever I go for browns and natural looks, I love using this palette. This is my favorite neutral palette. When it comes to my special events, so say prom, graduation, award ceremonies, big meetings, conferences, things like that, I like to use browns that are not too cool or too warm, right? And so the Jaclyn Hill palette is kind of going to give us that today. Y'all know that mine is beat up because I use it. I'm an artist. So yes, we are going to start here. And what brush are we going to use? My brushes are still dirty. It's probably the 12th video in the row where I have said I'm going to wash my brushes. Once again, pray for me. All I can do is ask for prayer. We're going to start off with my favorite BH Cosmetics brush right here, which is this very fluffy blending brush that I honestly don't have a super dupe for yet. I've had this for like a decade. Pray for this too, because the day that I can't use this no more, I'm going to lose it. I'm going to go into shade Silk Cream to start. So as always, if you don't have the exact same palette as me, no problem. I'm going to be describing these. So this is called Silk Cream, but it's really just a light brown, a light tan shade. Just go into your light tan shade. You don't need the exact same makeup as I have to get these same results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the upper crease. Before I do that, I'm going to pat this concealer down since I've been sitting here talking. It has creased a little bit, and that can make it a little bit difficult to blend, and you can kind of see it sometimes. So I just want to blend that out first, and I'm going to go right into the upper crease. So where is your crease? When you open your eyes, that is your crease. Now, everybody's crease is not the same size, everybody's crease is not in the same place, and we all have different eye anatomy. So if you can't figure out where your crease is using that method, the lookup method, just go halfway from your lash line, so where your lashes are, to your brow bone. So in the same place that I am blending now. And I'm going to just take that all the way over the crease, all the way over the eye, right? So from the inner corner, which is where your tear duct is, to the outer corner, which is where you would put eyeliner. Now, as you can see, there's fallout underneath my eye. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to swipe this away really quickly, but this is why I say do your eyes before your base. So I'm glad that you're here at this video before the base video. But if you're in a rush and you have to do it this way, always just take a little bit of powder and a powder brush and swipe it away. All right. And now I'm going to do the other eye. Are y'all one eye at a time makeup people or both eyes at the same time? I can't really get with the one eye at a time. I just feel like it's harder to get the eyes perfectly matched to each other when you do that. But I know some people do that. Like even for tutorials, I'm like, let me just do both eyes. Especially because doing both eyes, I realized I run into more issues and incongruencies. So like not exactly the same. And I like having those on camera because most of the people who watch my videos are beginners. So they'll watch these tutorials and then nobody will show any mess ups. And they're like, okay, what do I do now? Like I don't have enough experience yet in makeup to figure out how to like think my way through this because I'm a beginner. So I need you to explain to me what happens if I mess up and I don't, you know what I mean? So that's why I like doing both eyes too, because I usually mess up on at least one. And I'm like, hey, no issues, no problem. You messed up, I messed up too. And we're all here together. Okay, so I'm going to be taking this Morphe, who are you, M573, which is a denser blending brush. What I mean by denser is that the hairs are more closely packed. So for example, it's skinnier, right? So the thinner brushes, the closer the hairs are together. We're going to be going from least dense, so fluffiest, to these thinner, more dense brushes as we go down the crease. So as you can see, we start off at the top of the crease with this fluffy brush, and now we're going to a denser brush for the next shade. So I'm going to be using shade Pukey and a little bit of Buns. So this is going to be our medium brown, and Bun's a little bit too red and Pukey is a little bit too cool. So that's why I'm mixing these two together to get the perfect shade that I want. And we're going to go right underneath where we just added that tan shade. So we're going to go into the crease for real. So you can see this eye compared to this eye. I will say, this brown is still a little bit warm. But I feel like it's neutral enough where it's not like too crazy. I would rather the eye be warm than cool on a special event day, just because I feel like cool is like, you really gotta know what you're doing when you do a cool eye. Like you gotta know what you're doing, or else it gets really gray really fast, and that's just hard to match. It's harder to match things to, you know, a grayer, more smoky eye than to this warm brown. But once again, it's like a preference, right? Now that we blended that medium brown shade, we're gonna go to an even denser brush. Okay. See what we're doing here? And this is going to be a Morphe M433, and we're going to go to our darker browns, right? So I'm going to go into shade, what's your name? Chip. I'm going to go into shade Chip, a little bit of Buns, a little bit of Central Park. Just because they have different undertones, so to get the exact undertone I want, or use more than one. The reason why I just tap my brush off is because, like I was saying about that fallout from earlier, sometimes you can have too much on the brush, especially if your eyeshadows are more powdery, which means that they make more of a mess. So if you realize when you're swirling into your eyeshadow to make more of a mess, it's more powdery, right? So when it's more powdery and it gets on the brush, that's going to fall out. And especially with these darker shades, I really don't want that on my under eyes since I already did my makeup. Why are we going to put that dark shade into this lower crease? What are we adding these dark shades for, and why are we adding them here? Dark shades are going to introduce definition, right? So if we just have one eyeshadow that's not going to have any definition, and you're not going to be able to see, you know, your crease, when we add the metallics, we're going to need to have some definition here so that it looks clean, crisp. That's the whole point of like a cut crease. We're not going to be necessarily cutting the crease today, but we still want to have that clean, crisp look of, you know, eyeshadow and then shimmering glitter, right? That also just accentuates your natural eye definition because you naturally have a crease here. We've covered that up with eyeshadow primer and with eyeshadow now, so we're just adding that back. and dramatizing it times like 100, right? I'm going to be doing the same on the other eye. When it comes to special event makeup days, I like to do this look because one, it's pretty simple and it's pretty quick, and it's pretty hard to mess up, right? So there are days where I feel like some looks are artistic and some looks are pretty. There's some looks that are both, but those are the two categories, right? And when it comes to your special event days, those are days that you're going to get flash photography taken. What I mean by pretty makeup is makeup that photographs nice from any angle. So if I have a cherry blossom eye on, it's very intricate and it is pretty, but it's not a look. It's a look that's pretty, but not a pretty look. Pretty look, you can photograph me here with this eye makeup on. It's gonna look nice from over there, from over there, from over there. It's just something that is flattering for pictures and in real life, and is less stress, right? So when I have more intricate makeup on, I have to think about, you know, when I close my eyes, when I open my eyes, the angle, the lash. Not with this, all right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back and reinforce those browns. Like always, I always say you never just place a color once and blend it and that's it. So I'm just going to go in first with the light brown shade and then repeat the steps until the browns are nice and blended. If you've seen any of my other tutorials, if you haven't, you should. Stay a while. But if you have, you know how I feel about blending brown eyeshadows. It seems like they're the easiest, but sometimes looks are deceiving, right? I'm adding that medium brown shade. And I'm also not afraid to blend it outside of the eye. So like blending it out here because I have some primer out there, right? So I don't want to just have this dark like beige out here in the middle of my face. I mean, not in the middle, but in the edge of my face for absolutely no reason. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just blend that here as well. I'm going to go in with my dark brown. Yes. Now, if you want a lot of definition or you want this to be more smoky, you want this to be more dark and deep, you can always go in with a dense brush and go in with a black. So I'm not going to do that today because usually when I have these events, I don't do that, right? So that just changes the look. I love doing that for some looks, but for my go-to event makeup, I like to keep it pretty light, right? As light as I can get for me, right? Alrighty, so now what we're going to do is hello? Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to cut the crease. So I'm going to be taking this small craft brush, which is a Artist Loft Vienna 2 brush. I'm going to go into some concealer. Let's add some more concealer to the back of my hand. I like to put it on the back of my hand because it's easier to spread that way. You don't want a lot of concealer on the brush because it's going to make a big mess, and you really want to be very precise when it comes to cutting the crease. I'm going to start in my inner corner where the tear duct is, and I'm just going to swipe up into the crease, right? Now, before I even blink, move my eye or anything, I'm going to drag some of that concealer into the lid so that when I open my eye, it's not going to go everywhere because there's not excess. And get that line straight. The only thing about using concealer versus primer is that concealer is a little bit wetter. So just keep that in mind if you're not using your normal eyeshadow primer, you're using concealer. Well, actually, some concealers are drier, but this Too Faced one is wetter, and the consistency will be different. So it may not be as wet as this concealer. It may be drier than your primer. Keep that in mind, right? And when your primer is dry, what's going to happen is you're going to have to drag more. So just adjustments to make, but you're using the same steps no matter what the consistency of your concealer primer is. And we're going to take it all the way out, the concealer. This is essentially a half cut crease. So if you see my half cut crease tutorial, these next couple of steps are going to look very similar. But we're just going to take this out just for the sake of the lid. And then we'll blend back in later. So the outer corner doesn't need to be perfect. What does need to be perfect is that they need to match each other. So this cut is a little bit higher than this one, so I'm going to go back in and fix that, because if the way you cut your crease is different, so one is higher, one is lower, that can change the way your eyes look, which is going to be very frustrating when you put on your lashes, because you're going to think it's your lashes that aren't even, you're going to think it's your waterline that's uneven, you're going to think everything is uneven, but I'm telling you what it is. It is this crease. So I'm going to try to get them as close as possible to each other. Mind you, you know, my eyes are not exactly the same, so I'm going to do what I can. That looks way more symmetrical. Now let's get into these metallics, right? I like to use a mix of metallics simply because on these special event days, your jewelry can be silver, it could be gold, it could be a mix. And I'm one of those people who doesn't like mixing metals, but I do like mixing metals when it goes onto my eyeshadow because it hits everything in the outfit and it just looks pretty, right? So this, we're kind of making a neutral by adding all of the metals, right? Now, how am I going to do this? There's a couple routes we can take. You can use glittery eyeshadows. So these are liquid eyeshadows from the Lip Bar. They are black owned. And these are going to give you a very opaque payoff, right? So it's not a loose glitter. It's pretty thick. You can use a shimmer shadow like the Colourpop Super Shock gels, right? Oh, I have short nails now, so I can just do this. And that's going to give you a shimmer. Or you can use looser glitters, right? So you use looser glitters with a little bit of gel. This is from Colored Rain. This is a loose glitter with a little bit of gel. We're going to be using a little bit of all. We're going to be using a little bit of all because I feel like shimmer shadows don't pack as much of a punch as I want. All glitter is going to be too chunky for the lid. And we're going to use a little bit of the liquid eyeshadow for color. And I like the thickness of it. But if I added that alone, I feel like it's not going to give as much as much texture. So we're gonna mix a little bit of all. Stick with me. Stick with me. Okay, so on the back of my hand, here's what I'm mixing. I'm using the e.l.f. liquid eyeshadow in Bling Bling. I think this is about $3. And then this one is the Lip Bar Ice Princess liquid eyeshadow in Ice Princess. And I'm going to be mixing those in the back of my hand. Why am I using two? One is just different than the other. One is different than the other. They look the same, but they're a little bit different. I'm just being picky. Pick your favorite silver. I'm going to be going in with our Glam Gloss Beauty Primer. Y'all know the diamond one. I love this so much. And it's basically like a glitter glue, right? So I'm going to add that to the back of my hand. Why am I using that? We're going to need a medium to make these shimmer shadows apply to the lid, not like a powder, and to also mix, right? So if I'm just adding powder to those liquid eyeshadows, the silver ones, it's not going to give, okay? It's just going to dry out. So we're going to need to add another liquid so that we can bond all of these together. I'm going to go into this gold eyeshadow from Colourpop, and this is the Super Shock Shadow in Life Coach on the back of this Morphe brush, just a flat brush. And I'm going to mix that into the gold and then mix that into the silver. I'm also adding the diamond primer because I'm going to need a little bit more liquid because I want it to be light on the eye, right? So I don't want it to look like the glitter is super densely packed. I want it to look like, oh, she just added a little bit of glitter. So I want to make sure that it is more sheer. And now we are going to apply it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just apply it all over the lid. Boom. All right, that's just for starters. That's just for starters. Now I'm going to go in with this glitter, right? So this is a holographic glitter. This is from ABH. I don't think that ABH sells them anymore, but if you find a holographic glitter, let me explain to you how holographic glitters changed my life, right? So the thing is that it's kind of like a clear. So since it's holographic, it has a reflection when it hits the light, but it doesn't have as much power as these metallic shades and as much glitter, right? So I'm going to add that holographic glitter to the back of my hand and a little bit more of that diamond powder. Since it is a glitter and it is not a liquid, we're going to need to add a liquid in order to adhere it to the eye. And we're going to, with a light hand, add that holographic glitter. So as you can see, it is much sheerer. Also because I feel like this eyeshadow look was super old. I want to just add a little bit more of that holographic glitter to bring back in the silver. This is what the glitter looks like. You see it is white, but that's because it's densely packed. It's a lot in there, right? But if you put it on the back of your hands and you mix it, you see more of the glimmers of blue and purple, and now I'm just going to add a little bit more of that to the lid. Okay, boom. I am happy with how that looks. Take a small brush and a little bit of that brown eyeshadow just to go onto the crease and fix where the glitter may have run over. And then if you get a little bit too much of that dark brown on the lid, you just fix it with a little bit of glitter. So this is going to be a metallic half cut crease for special events. If you want to see a more champagne one or a softer one, which means that we're not going to cut the crease, it's going to be more pink, let me know down in the comments, because I have a couple variations of this. So if you say, you know what, I want to see more of these, let me know, because I can twist it up. Now we're going to blend in this outer corner. So how are we going to do that? We're going to go back into our handy dandy Jaclyn Hill palette, and we are going to start with that light brown. Okay, so we're going to go back into that light brown shade, and we're going to go about 3/4 of the eye out and place that right here. We're going to take that medium shade, and we're going to go right behind that light shade. All right, you see what we're doing here? We're adding a gradient from light to dark into the outer corner just so that it blends the entire eye together. So we're going to go in with a dark brown shade, the one from before. Use a blending brush and go into the dark brown shade from before and blend that into that outer third of the eye. And you see this eye looks more cohesive than this eye. So we're going to repeat the steps over here, starting with that light brown shade. Then our medium brown. And then our dark brown shade. Right on the outer corner. Yes. All right, now let's do the waterline. So on special event days, I always go white waterline because it's bright. It opens up the eye. It's great for photography. It's beautiful. Love it, right? So I'm going to take in the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. If you saw my last video, which was Waterline 101, I go more into how to like put things on the waterline, like other than just this, we want to use different products, how to know if it's eye safe, and what color accentuates what part of your eye. So the white is going to make our eyes look bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this craft brush, which is just a Craft Smart, comes in a 4-pack, and I'm going to go from the inner corner along the waterline, right? So I'm going to go along the eye. I'm not going to poke it into my eye. That's crazy. Parallel. Turn to the side and go along. I'm going to do the same on the other eye. I'm going to go back in with my Morphe M433 into that light shade. And go right underneath the eye, up into that lower lash line. And that is why it's okay if you got some white underneath your eye in that last step, because we are covering it up now. Don't even worry about it. Using our flat brush that we used to fill in this outer corner, which was actually a Morphe M166. I'm not sure if I said that earlier. I'm going to take that dark brown and get really close to the waterline. I don't want the dark shade to go too far down, because then it's going to look like a bruised eye. It's going to look like an eye bag. It's going to look like things that we don't intend for it to look like. Boom. Now, here is our final touch. I think that this eye definitely needs it. We're going to be going in with a white eyeshadow to really open up the eye. And this is from the Stone Cold palette. This is shade Dreamful. There's a light cream shade in the Jaclyn Hill palette, so if you have that one open, that's fine. This is just my favorite white, and I want it to be very bright to really get the maximum effect of this white inner corner. I'm going to be going on this Colourpop E20, which is just a small brush that looks like so. And I'm going to be applying that here. There's going to be some fallout. Don't worry. We'll clean it up with our powder brush. And yes, those are the eyes. Now I'm going to add mascara and add lashes and come right back. Alright, so here is the final look. On the lips is so many things because it went all wrong. But luckily I have a nude lip combo video up. So if you want to see how I do my nude lip combos, I pretty much just do a liner, a lipstick, some gloss. So if you want to see how I do that, I'll put that in the cards up above. I also have how I apply my faux lashes. So if you want to know how to apply your faux lashes, I have a video for that too. Yeah, so we have the Makeup Foundationals playlist, which basically I'm trying to get as many single topic videos up for beginners and for people who just want to learn more about a specific thing in makeup. Should let me know down below what video you want to see next for that. We've done how to apply faux lashes, eyeliner 101, waterline 101, brows, nude lip, red lip, base makeup, one eyeshadow looks. So let me know down below what you want to see next. And here is the final look. So we have our metallic half cut crease, perfect for special events. Tag me as always on social media at Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok if you do this look, because I want to see how it came out and I want to see if it works for your special event days. Happy graduation. Well, is it happy graduation? Happy birthday, congratulations, and have fun at prom to everybody who's going through special events right now during this May spring season. And I will see you in the next video. Please make sure to subscribe down below. We are almost at 40,000 subscribers, which is almost to 50, which is almost to 100,000, which is almost to 1 million. So I'm excited. Subscribe down below, please, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.